Hi, I'm Scott, and welcome to Bike Ride Reviews. If you're new to the channel, it's great to have you join us. In the studio today, we have Engwe's L20 2.0, a budget-friendly folding electric bike with fat tires and a 52-volt 750-watt motor. In our last review, we started testing the lights that come with e-bikes. Now, for the new year, we've launched a new review format. We hope that you find the new approach both useful and entertaining. Let us know in the comments below if you like the new review style, and if you think we've left anything out, or even if you prefer the old style. It's not going to hurt our feelings. And as ever, if you find the review handy, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification icon so you never miss a BikeRide.com review. So who is Engwe? Engwe is a China-based global e-bike brand that's been around for almost 10 years now. It's built a sizable presence in the United States, with a range of e-bikes and electric scooters. Its moped and commuter-style bikes have been particularly popular, but it also offers folding bikes, cargo bikes, and hybrids, all with fat tires. We recently tested the Engwe EP2 Pro, and you'll find written reviews of more than a dozen Engwe bikes on our website, bikeride.com. I'll put links to both in the description underneath this video, so check those out. The L20 2.0 is a folding electric commuter and light recreation bike with a 750-watt motor, 13 amp-hour battery, and a 28 mile/hour top speed. Engwe calls it a comfortable and powerful utility e-bike. It has a step-through frame, suspension fork and seat post, cargo rack, fenders, 3-inch wide semi-fat tires, and integrated lights. So on paper at least, it looks like it should fulfill that mission. However, we'll need to look more closely at the specs and real-world performance to find out how comfy, powerful, and practical this fat-tired folder really is. As the 2.0 in this bike's name indicates, this isn't Engwe's first L20. The older L20 was designed to do the same job as the 2.0, and the ingredients remain largely the same. But there are many detail changes, and one big difference. The L22 carries over the step-through frame layout from its predecessor, and though it looks very similar to the older frame, this one folds. The main benefit of a step-through, which is that this bike is easy to get both on and off of, is the same. The 2.0 also has a folding stem, so the handlebar can be folded down next to the bike for a more compact package. The pedals also fold, for a slimmer footprint. Most riders should find the upright, relaxed riding position comfortable, but the L20 only comes in one size, so rider fit is determined solely by the range of adjustment that's available at the handlebar and the saddle. Now, Engwe says that this bike fits riders from 5'4" to 6'2", and I found that the L20 was a good fit, but I also had the seat post all the way up to its minimum insertion point, so riders that are a little taller than me at 6 feet might struggle. The L20 2.0 has an unbranded rear hub motor, rated for 750 watts of nominal power and 75 Newton meters of torque. This bike uses a 52-volt system, so it should have plenty of grunt. A cadence sensor manages pedal assistance, and a twist throttle is integrated into the right grip. The 676 watt-hour battery is smaller than we'd like to see with a 750 watt motor. And the charger that Engwe supplies is 2 amps, so a full charge requires close to 7 hours. That said, both of these complaints are excusable, given the L20 2.0's low price. The battery is mounted on the back of the seat tube, and the seat flips up to give better access to the battery. A key-mounted lock on the non-drive side secures the battery in place to prevent theft and unauthorized use of the bike. This lock has unlock, off, and on positions. The charge port is located on the drive side for charging on or off the bike. A rubber cover protects the charge port. The L20 2.0 is certified by a Chinese test lab to meet the UL 2849 standard for e-bike electrical system safety. That's the only safety or durability standard that this bike definitely meets. It's reasonable to expect a utility or commuter bike like this to handle wet weather, but it isn't clear exactly what waterproofing standard, if any, this bicycle meets. When we asked Engwe about this, their reply wasn't particularly impressive. They said that the L20 2.0 is waterproof to a certain extent, but they don't recommend riding your e-bike or scooter through water. And if you must ride in water, the water depth should not exceed the lowest point of the motor. Otherwise, your motor may be damaged. It seems that when I asked Engwe about this bike's waterproofing, they thought I was planning to cross rivers with it. The user manual says the battery pack is IPX4, which means that it can withstand limited water splashes from any direction. The test certificate Engwe supplied for this bike appears to say that the battery complies with IP54, which means that it's also protected from dust. But this lack of clear and consistent information basically characterizes the Engwe experience. And it's a problem that we'll see later when it comes to using the bike's display. Engwe says the L20 2.0 can be set up for e-bike class 1, 2, or 3, and it ships configured with a class 3 28 mph top speed for pedal assist. The throttle is limited to 70% of the pedal assist speed, so it's limited to 20 mph out of the box. The pedal assist max speed can be adjusted between 25 km an hour and 45 km an hour in 1 km an hour steps. But the process isn't simple. The throttle can be disabled via the screen, but again, the process for doing this isn't obvious. There are no instructions in the user manual for adjusting the speed limit or toggling the throttle on and off. You have to refer to Engwe's video instructions, which are available online. If you live anywhere that requires the throttle to be physically removed from the bike, you'll have to find and install a new full-size replacement grip on that side, since it's integrated into the grip. The L20 2.0 has a coil suspension fork with 65 mm of measured travel and a suspension seat post with 30 mm of travel. Engwe says that the L20 2.0 weighs 68.3 pounds, but I measured it at 68 pounds. However, 68 pounds is still quite heavy for a bike. So if you want something that's easy to lift or carry, you'll need to look at bikes with smaller wheels, a smaller motor, and probably a smaller battery. Our test bike comes in onyx black paint with a matte finish. And the L20 2.0 is also available in sea green and rose pink. The old L20 had one-piece cast mag wheels, and Engwe has given the 2.0 traditional spoked wheels with 20-inch aluminum rims, wearing 3-inch wide tires with a cross-country style tread pattern. The tires are unbranded, but Engwe states that they do have puncture protection. The front wheel is secured to the fork with nuts, no quick release or through axle here. And this is a basic coil suspension fork, but it does have a lockout and preload adjustment. Moving up to the head tube, there are mounting points for an optional front cargo rack. Just above those is the lever and the clasp for the folding stem. And further up the stem, there's a quick release for easily adjusting the height of the handlebars. The handlebar is straight, with a very slight rise. The rubber slip-on grips have an ergonomic flare. The right-hand grip has an integrated twist throttle. The right side is also where you're going to find the Shimano TX50 7-speed shifter, which operates a tourney derailleur at the rear. The L20 2.0 has unbranded mechanical disc brakes with 180 mm rotors, and the brake levers are also unbranded. Engwe includes a small mechanical bell on the left side, and there's a 3-inch color display in the middle of the handlebar. Now when you hop on this bike, you'll be sitting on a K-San padded comfort saddle, mounted onto that suspension seat post. And the L20 2.0 comes with a rear cargo rack, which is rated to carry 55 pounds. Engwe says the bike can carry 264 pounds, but it's not really clear if that includes the weight of the bike. As with many aspects of this bike, the documentation and specifications are generally vague and inconsistent. Now this bike also comes with folding plastic pedals, and these are on the small side, especially for big feet, and the anti-slip pegs are quite small too. The bike comes with 170 mm crank arms and 48 tooth chainring, with double chainring guards. And at the rear there's a narrow range 14 to 28 tooth cassette, and a guard to protect the derailleur. Finally, there's a pair of mounting bosses on the down tube for a bottle cage or other accessory. So does this all add up to a comfortable commuter with the performance and range that's been promised by Engwe? Let's go and find out. The L20 2.0 has a 3-inch color LCD display, mounted in portrait format in the middle of the handlebar. The display is controlled with a 5-button control pad, mounted on the left handlebar. The control pad has plus and minus buttons, a power button, an I button, and a button that turns the lights on and off. Unlike some e-bikes we reviewed recently, on the L20 2.0, both the display and battery are secured by a key-operated lock. Remaining battery is shown at the top of the display, in the form of the usual basic 5-bar readout, with no option to view it as a percentage. An icon to the right of the battery meter shows if the lights are on, and the bike's speed is shown in large digits in the center of the screen. And the display indicates whether the speed is in miles per hour or kilometers per hour. Under that is a single digit that shows the pedal assist level. The I button cycles through trip distance, total distance, maximum speed ridden, and average speed. And the readout is at the bottom of the screen. And the line above shows which one you've chosen. It also shows if walk assist is enabled. The bike is powered on or off by holding down the power button. To conserve battery, the bike automatically powers off if it hasn't been used for 10 minutes. When the bike is first turned on, the screen shows speed in kilometers per hour and trip in kilometers. At least that's the case for this bike in Canada. I assume that the US bike comes configured for miles. These units can be changed via the menu. This bike's menu system is very confusing. The instructions in the user manual are confusing too, but you need them to make any sense of the menu system, because nothing about the menu system is obvious or intuitive. There's a general settings menu, which lets you alter 3 parameters, and an advanced menu, where you can change the wheel size and speed limit. The options in the menus have strange 2-letter labels, rather than words, which definitely would have been easier to understand. To open the general settings menu, the bike must still be powered on and standing still, with 0 miles per hour showing on the display. Hold the plus and the minus buttons down together for more than 2 seconds, and you're going to have the advanced settings shop. Use the plus and minus buttons to choose one of the 3 parameters. Then press the I button to enter the parameter setting. Once you're inside the parameter setting, use the plus and minus buttons to change the setting. Then press the I button to save that setting. The parameters for both speed limit and wheel size can be changed via the display. To change the speed limit, follow the same steps as before to enter the TC parameter. With the bike powered on and standing still, hold the plus and minus buttons down together for more than 2 seconds. The general settings menu should come up, with TC showing on the screen. Now press the minus button and the I button together. The screen should now show LD. Press the plus button and the screen should show L5. Press the plus or minus button now and the speed limit in kilometers an hour will appear in the bottom left corner of the screen, adjusting this value to the desired speed in kilometers per hour. Once the desired value is reached, press the I button to save it and return to the main screen. As you can see, adjusting anything in this bike's firmware is a giant pain. The instructions for changing the speed limit don't even appear in the user manual. You actually have to watch that Engwe video. I could have simply provided the link to that video, but I wanted to show how clunky this system is. It really feels low quality, in terms of both implementation and documentation. The process for disabling or activating the throttle via the display is similarly clumsy. Again, this isn't documented in the user manual. You have to watch 2 videos to find out how it's done. So overall, the experience is distinctly below average. By the way, while stumbling around pressing buttons and trying to remember how to access the advanced menu, I also came across a 3rd menu, but it's locked with a PIN code, which I don't have. So I don't even know what this 3rd advanced menu does. Thankfully, removing the battery is much simpler than navigating the menus. All you have to do is pull up on the lever under the back of the seat, which allows the seat to flip forward, giving you more space. Now to unlock the battery, insert the key and turn it counterclockwise to the unlock position. Flip up the battery's carry handle and give it a firm tug to release the battery. Now just pull the battery up and out. To install the battery, ensure that the seat is flipped up to provide access to the battery. Now line the battery up with the battery rails on the back of the seat tube. Insert the battery slide it down, and push it into place. In the hill climb tests, the L20 2.0 proved to be an average performer. It wasn't spectacular, but it also wasn't the worst either. On our standard small elevation hill, the L20 2.0 showed good acceleration, and it maintained a decent speed all the way up. Its 2 minutes and 36 seconds puts it ahead of the Velotric Fold 1, Vituvia SN1000, and the Haybike Mars. Up steeper slopes, the L20 can't maintain a high speed, despite its 52-volt system and 75 Nm of torque. As a result, it loses out to the Fido Titan, which climbed the small hill 21 seconds faster than the Engwe did. Part of the reason for the L20's slower speed up steep climbs is that 14 to 28 tooth rear cassette. The 28 tooth bottom gear makes pedaling uphill difficult, forcing you to rely more on the motor. And in the medium elevation hill climb, the L20 was in the middle of the pack, climbing the hill in 2 minutes and 31 seconds. Overall, the L20 2.0 performed reasonably well in the climbing tests, especially for a bike at this price point, but it is limited by its tall gearing. As you can see from the graphic, the L20 2.0 is almost the slowest bike in the 0 to 20 acceleration test, but the difference is really only 1 to 2 seconds. With a 0 to 20 at pedal assist of 10 seconds and a 0 to 20 on throttle of 11 seconds. Despite this slower acceleration, the L20 seems to maintain high speeds well, at least on shallower climbs. And this probably makes up somewhat for the slower initial acceleration in those hill climb tests. You might be hoping that the L20 2.0 makes up for its middling performances in the acceleration and hill climb tests by rewarding us with impressive battery range. Unfortunately, this bike's range does prove underwhelming. In range test 1, using pedal assist 5, the L20 2.0 managed just 22.04 miles and 854 feet of elevation at an average speed of 16.5 miles per hour. All of the comparable bikes did better, including Engwe's own EP2 Pro, which managed nearly 30 miles in this test, despite being 8 pounds heavier and having 4-inch tires. Range test 2 wasn't much better, even with pedal assist lowered to level 3. The bike traveled 30.13 miles, and it climbed 1,276 feet at an average speed of 14.3 miles per hour. This puts it firmly at the back of the pack. All the other bikes traveled at least a few miles more. The Fido Titan managed 44.5 miles, but to be fair, it's more than twice the price. And in the brake test, the L20 2.0's mechanical disc brakes performed fine, stopping the bike in 19 feet. This is roughly on par with the older bikes we've tested, but it's nowhere near the 15 to 18 feet we regularly see from bikes with the newer braking systems. What's more, as with most mechanical disc brakes, these brakes needed regular adjustment, and they never really felt anywhere near as powerful or confidence-inspiring as hydraulic brakes do. It's worth noting that this is the one test where the L20 2.0 outperformed the Fido Titan. In general, the L20 2.0 feels much the same to ride as any other folding step-through e-bike with an upright riding position, a suspension fork, and fat tires. I could feel some flex in the frame, but unlike some of the fat bikes that I've tested, there was never really any speed wobble, and I could ride with no hands. The L20's 2.0 handling is fine on pavement and light trails, and the tires offer adequate traction. However, the suspension components reinforce the bike's budget feel. The cheap suspension fork easily bottoms out, and the preload adjustment seems to do pretty much nothing. That budget feel is reinforced by the mechanical disc brakes, which require regular adjustment to maintain feel and control, and they suffer from longer stopping distances than hydraulic brakes. The motor does feel peppy and responsive, but it's also very loud, emitting a high-pitched whine at high speeds, and when you're climbing hills. Also, the drivetrain is just generally noisy, and there's a lot of chain slap over bumps and when you're riding it on light trails. The riding experience is worsened further by the narrow gearing range, which is limiting on steep hills, and it results in so much ghost pedaling at higher speeds that there's really no point in even trying to pedal past 20 miles per hour. Now the L20 2.0 folds like most folding bikes, and it's easy to do. Unfortunately, there's no way to stop it from unfolding, which does make it very difficult to lift or carry, and it further underlines that budget feel of the bike. And finally, the L20's included headlight just isn't very bright. In testing, it was much weaker than both our reference front light and the headlight on the new Rad Power Bike's Radster Trail. The L20 2.0's motor feels powerful and it provides good assistance, especially when you're climbing hills. It's easily capable of 28 miles per hour on flat ground, and it also offers peppy acceleration. Thanks to the folding frame, stem, and pedals, the L20 2.0 folds down to a relatively compact package that's 31.5 inches long, 17.7 inches wide, and 40.1 inches high. Also, the 20-inch wheels and 3-inch tires take up less space than the bigger wheels and tires that are found on some comparable bikes. The upshot is that this bike easily fits in most car trunks or vehicles, and it should be easier to store it at home or work. However, you're going to want a Velcro strap or a bungee to stop it from unfolding. The L20 2.0's 48-tooth chainring and 7-speed 14 to 28-tooth cassette result in gearing that is poorly suited to both climbing hills and pedaling at high speeds. Ghost pedaling starts at 20 miles per hour, so there's no resistance when pedaling to reach the 28 mile per hour max speed. This inadequate gearing also forces you to rely on the throttle more, which uses up the limited battery range even faster. Finally, I'm just not a fan of Shimano's TX50 overhand shifter. It shifts fine, but it feels cheap and plasticky, and I'm unimpressed with both the shifter's position on the handlebar and its clunky operation. Shimano's Altus trigger shifter, which retails at around the same price as the TX50 and is often found on bikes in the same price range as the L20 2.0, is a much nicer one to use in my opinion. Even though this bike's 180mm brake rotors are a good size, and the L20 2.0 achieved reasonable stopping distances in our braking tests, mechanical disc brakes just aren't powerful or responsive enough for a bike that can do 28 miles per hour. Also, I had to keep adjusting the brakes in order to maintain braking performance. The unbranded motor emits a loud whine when it's working hard, such as when riding above 20 miles per hour or if you're trying to climb hills. This very high-pitched noise is annoying for both the rider and other people that are nearby. Engwe calls this a high visibility headlight, but frankly, it's just not. Here's a comparison of Engwe's headlight. First to our Cat-Eye AMP 1100 reference light. Seen from above, the Cat-Eye front light clearly illuminates a traffic cone 100 feet away. It also provides a good spread of illumination along both sides of the road, all the way out to at least 100 feet. The Engwe's headlight, however, provides very little illumination, up to about 10 feet ahead, and it's a much narrower beam that there's no useful illumination along the sides of the road. If you wanted to ride the L20 2.0 at night, you would certainly want to invest in a brighter front light to make you more visible to other road users. The Engwe's rear light is a similar story. Our Lezyne KTV Pro Plus reference light can be seen clearly from 100 feet away. The Engwe's rear light does better than its headlight, and it does have brake activation, but it's still not that particularly impressive. Overall, I found that the L20 2.0 was frustrating. Yes, this bike will get you around on paved surfaces and light trails, but it's kind of unlikely to be a ride that you're going to enjoy or look forward to. On paper, the Engwe L20 2.0 offers a lot of bang for the buck, but I think it just has too many weaknesses to make it an attractive proposition in the real world. So that's the Engwe L20 2.0. As ever, you can follow the link under this video to read BikeRide.com's full written review and check the final score we gave the bike. You can also search for other reviews of similar e-bikes, check out our forums, and learn about cycling events that are going on near you. Do you ride an L20 2.0? How do you like it? Do you find that our new review format was more useful? Be sure to post your comments and questions under the video. And if you liked the video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more informative reviews. I'm Scott, and I hope to have you join me on our next review. Thanks for watching.